Yeah, it goes late nights on the road. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Yeah, that's just how it goes these days. I'ma try my best to make this flight, but if I don't wake up tomorrow, then the sun will still be. Yeah, it goes late nights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to One Step at a Time with your host, the Ocean Flight 111, heading straight to full potential with zero delays. Guys, if you haven't told a friend about the podcast, please tell a friend, tell a family member, give it a share. It really means a lot. Also, if you haven't given it the 5 stars on Spotify, please do. That really means a lot. And spread the word, spread the good word, because it really helps, guys. Well, we had a bit of a vacation, didn't we? It's been a while, has it not? It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on the airwaves. Okay, all right. Yeah. Wow, I suppose we're going to do a little bit of a catch-up as to what's been happening over the last while. And then we'll kind of get into today's podcast. Guys, as you know, today's podcast is sponsored by nobody. For God's sake, someone give me a sponsorship. I know, I'm going to put it out there now, probably in the new year. And probably organize some kind of sponsorship or whatnot. Because it would help greatly and contribute to the overall success of the podcast. But so wow, before we get into this episode, I suppose a bit of a recap. What have I been doing? Wow, it's been an interesting 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I should say. The last podcast that went out was with Dara Fleming, the great poet and author writer. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to check it out. I had some technical difficulties with that one and whatnot, so I ended up just being audio. But we're back with the video. So yeah, a couple weeks. So wow, so many things happened. Had my gig in the Grand Social. Went a 50 Cent. Went on a date, kinda. Date / yeah, it was a date. It was basically it. So what else happened? We took on some new clients with Exhale. That's been fucking great. Been doing exercises for my knee because I have a knee injury at the moment. Because I went for a jog first time in a while there yesterday, or not 2 days ago, should I say? And it was so frustrating. And my legs then the next day felt so brittle and weak, and I was like, my God, what's happened to my legs? So I guess the gig, first of all, how did the gig go? Well, it was interesting because, I'm a big believer and have always said that, preparation is key for anything in life. You fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. Like, I always like to over prepare for anything I do, be it a gig, be I'm going somewhere, be I'm traveling somewhere. Now, is it something that I could do better a lot of the time? Yeah, and I do slip up. But big believer in preparation is one of the key ingredients for success and just for overall a great life. So with the gig, I guess I was balancing a lot with the gig. There was a lot of factors to it. We just taken on some new clients for Exhale, so I was balancing that in my head, and then I was balancing the performance myself, and then also balancing. It was on my mind, Ryan, my DJ, was his first gig. Not in a bad way, but just being mindful of everything, wanted to go smooth as possible for him. So kind of that was in my head too. So I was kind of balancing a lot of things. And also, like, one of my main goals has become to be able to balance business and my craft and this podcast, and balance and juggle it all, essentially. Become a multi-hyphenate is my goal in life, to be a person that is a jack of many trades. And learning that from people like Pitbull. I've been watching a lot of Pitbull interviews. People really don't give Pitbull the success, the props for his success that he deserves. But we'll bring it back to the gig. So I was juggling a lot in my head about the gig. So even beforehand, I did do some good preparation, like good just like doing out my lyrics and practicing over and over again and getting everything correct for the gig. Like, I put in a good 3-4 hours, but realistically 3-4 hours isn't enough to prepare for a gig in my mind. Like, you're giving, because it's not just one gig really, you're giving a performance, you're giving a piece of art. So I definitely could have prepared more for it and just been silky smooth and 100% on point, and not make some of the mistakes I did for my last gig, because you should never be making the same mistakes twice when it comes to performing. I'd be a believer in that. Like anything in life, you make a mistake and you learn your lesson from it quickly, so you don't repeat the mistake. And I repeated some mistakes in the set. Now I'm not gonna say them what mistakes I made, because like it was a very enjoyable set. But like any performer out there, or anyone who seeks and strives for the best they possibly can be at something, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like even if it comes off good, if you made a mistake, you're still weary and you still wish you didn't, and you wanna make sure you don't make that again. So let's get into the actual performance. So before the performance, again, I was juggling. We'd just taken on some new clients, so I was kind of doing businessy work stuff beforehand. My goal is, like, again, to be a multi-hyphenate, someone who can juggle all them things and become as skilled as possible. So again, that's learning curves of being able to like switch hats. So I was doing stuff on my laptop, back and forth with clients, and then zone in. Now it's time for gig. So I was doing that beforehand, and once I kind of got like that little out the way, because I had to do a few things, I was in the mindset then for performing. Just being able to switch hats is such a difficult thing sometimes, especially when you're trying to do a lot. So that's definitely been a skill I've been trying to hone in on and trying to get better at and improve on. So fast forward, then we're ready backstage. Everyone's lovely. Shout out Shannon, the girl who put together the gig. She did an absolutely amazing job. Everything was great there. Everyone was lovely. Felt really good before the gig. Prepared really nicely in the like dressing room. Like what I started doing is like a meditation before I perform. Like I don't drink or don't take anything to perform. I think there's something very pure about taking in everything so vivid and feeling them emotions just right in your soul. So I don't like to take anything when I'm performing. I want to feel all them emotions and remember them emotions and remember them moments. So beforehand, me and Ryan meditated, and then before we went on stage, we kind of had this thing we're going. I was like, Ryan, what are we doing this for? And he goes, hip hop, and I was like, damn fucking right, hip hop. So yeah, we went on. It went really well. Overall, it went really well. Super enjoyed it. Felt super confident too in my breathing, which was dope. In between sets, or in between songs, I was out of breath, but again, something to improve on. But actually performing, I was proud of like my breath control and my connection with the crowd. Which I think I'm only improving, and learning that it's a theatrical performance. It doesn't just have to be a rap gig. Because I have so many aspects and elements to my personality, and I would say I'm a quite expressive person, kind of clocking, oh yeah, I can express different aspects of my personality in this performance. It just doesn't have to be a rap gig, and kind of taking myself outside of the box. Been kind of aware enough to know that it's a rap performance, and I want to include some MC and DJ like essential parts of a rap gig, but also being aware and knowledgeable enough to know that, oh, I can add other elements to this too. So that's a learning curve. But yeah, performance went really well. Down by the River, such a song that will be coming out in the new year. So I had everyone singing that like towards the end of the song, everyone clapping their hands. Don't go chasing. So it's such a powerful song, that song about someone who passed away, and their rough road in life. So that was powerful. And again, yeah, just enjoying it, man. Just enjoying it. Fucking just enjoying it. Like damn right I'm on stage. Damn right I deserve to be here and living my dream. Like, fuck yeah. And I deserve more people here. I deserve bigger crowds. I deserve bigger venues. I'm putting in the work to receive that. So yeah, it did feel good. Fucking felt great. Felt like I belonged there, which I do belong there. Yeah, and just again honing in on that, like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be, and having no problem saying that and stating that, because when you find where you're supposed to be in life, fuck yeah, you should tell people you're happy about that, and fuck yeah, you should be proud of that. And have confidence in that. You know, sometimes people can feel intimidated by someone's confidence, or your confidence, or your belief in your path. So overall, it was great. I'm really happy how it went. Then 2 days later, after the gig, went to 50 Cent. That was anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Fitty fan. Always have been, always will be. Everything, like from the way he maneuvers in business, to the music, to his comedic values, to his interview style, to the way the way he enters a conversation, the way he can like slide in and out of questions. Dude's a genius. Yeah, funny character, turbulent character. But getting to see 50, oh wow, that was just an absolute dream come true. Me, Matthew, and Ty went. I hadn't got the tickets to was it the morning of? Yeah, it was the morning of the gig. Of course, I'd leave it last minute, but and got the tickets on. They wouldn't let you get them on the Irish Ticketmaster. So I was like, what about the English one? Went on the English one, you could still buy tickets for it. So like, whatever that was all about. But went to the gig, incredible hit after hit after hit. The euphoria. Just so happy watching it. Like it was, and Busta, and learning from Busta's performance and his skills, the way he performs with his hype man Fredro Splifstar. So man, shout out 50, absolute dream come true, and to see it with two of my best friends, Tyke and Matthew, that was just extra special. And then went on a date then two days later, which was super rewarding. Met a lovely person. She's actually going to Australia, so shout out her. Yeah, it was really just great conversation and learned a lot. Like, it's great when you can only meet someone for like a brief period of time, but learn so much in that brief period of time about the person and some things about yourself too. So that was super cool. Shout out her. And yeah, that's a couple of things that's been happening, and obviously just recuperating and getting back to full fitness with my knee has been another thing. So that's kind of like some life updates there. Going to England next week too. So quite excited to see some family and stuff. So that's really, really exciting. But anyways, let's get into the podcast. What are we on about today, folks? What do you want to do tonight, Bray? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. I love that so much. So, what are we on about today? We are on about personal growth. Oh, wow. Personal growth, eh? What's it all about? What does it mean? Well, personal growth, I guess it just means wanting to improve how you see life, how you treat others, how others will treat you, how you feel you deserve to be treated, putting time in to figure out your flaws, to work on your flaws, to figure out your attributes and push forward your attributes more. So where do I want to kind of go with this? I guess I maybe probably became aware of the whole concept of improving myself when I started reading. So obviously I would have got into like the self-help books and stuff pretty young. And again, one of my things is like I find it difficult to read. I don't find it difficult to the actual concept and the actual doing action of reading. Like, even though I'm dyslexic, it's quite easy. It's just sitting there and having the patience, especially with my focus and how that's been impacted so much by like fucking social media and whatnot. But so I kind of, from a young age, I would have started reading the self-help books, like, and just getting to figure out all the concept of improving and learning about myself and just, doing the work, I guess, developing myself. And I remember Russ saying this, and I had this thought once or twice myself, and it was dope to hear him verbalize it. But Russ, rapper Big Russ, he had a very good quote about your life is like a character in a game, and you can choose if you want to upgrade it. And the more you upgrade it, the more you can access in the game. And it's the same for life. The more you upgrade your character, the more you access, and the more you see, and the more that becomes available, the more opportunities that just seem to knock on your door. So anyhow, I guess, I started off quite young on the books, and I guess because I was on the journey with my music and whatnot, I wanted to learn, wanted to improve as much as possible, because my dream was always to have the mental capacity and the depth of perception that Kendrick Lamar has. And I feel like I don't have what he has now, but I have my own perception, depth of perception and perspectives that like I always strive to have, that Kendrick, different types, but like if you understand like different people and different perspectives, because that was one of the main things of music. I always wanted to be able to see things from as many dimensions as possible, and I think that's something really I have done with my improvement. So I guess a couple of things when I started to get into it, and it took me a long time, was, well, there's a lot to get into, I guess, but I remember quite clearly, it's like sometimes even though if you want to put in the work, it almost takes someone else to point something out to you, be that a really good friend, be that a therapist, be a loved one, be it like a stranger, to point something out in you that like you just didn't see before. Even though like I know there's a really good quote of like, if we can't even smell our breath, if we have bad breath sometimes, even though our nose is right here, imagine what else we're missing. I think Sadhguru said that. What a fucking legend. So imagine like what else we can't see about ourselves. So I thought I had good awareness for the most part. And part of that is one of the things I always thought I had was good manners. Like, I was raised two parents that give me really great manners, like please, thank you, to be respectful, and that's something I always prided myself on. And I even remember when I was a kid, we were at a birthday party, and I remember very vividly, I asked one of the mothers, I was like 7 or 8 at the time, and I asked one of the mothers, could I have a bag of sweets, please, and thank you. And she was so taken back. She was like, of course, you have such good manners. Yeah, here, you're very welcome. And I always remember that. And I always prided myself on someone who had good manners. So I thought I had good manners. So anyhow, I remember one time we were doing a music shoot in Galway. And this was 2016? I don't know, possibly around that. And we were doing this for The Messenger. And this guy called O'Shane was doing the video, and he happened to double book it, and it was the same day as Finn. He double booked Finn to record the WP Master, who's now my good and best friend. So we ended up having to like do both in one day. And I remember I did something, a bad habit I picked up, like one of my teachers used to do it, but click your fingers, and I said, Finn, can you come over a second? And O'Shane kind of like checked me and was like, man, why did you click your fingers? That's so rude. And I never actually thought about it being rude before, which it is. It's quite rude, like to click your fingers or something. It's a very rude thing to do. And I was like, yeah, I guess that is kind of rude. And he just pointed some other things and other little flaws, I guess, or parts of my personality that like I never really looked at before. And I kind of started to look at it. I was like, maybe I am a little rude from time to time. But I didn't really put time into it to try and develop on it. So what happened was I got into the whole self-development stuff, and then when I had like a mental breakdown or whatever that was, it kind of became difficult to read because of intrusive thoughts and whatnot. Like I could never keep my brain at peace, so it was very difficult to read sometimes. So I kind of like moved away from the self-development stuff and didn't really think about it too much. So then when it came to that video shoot that time, it was the first time then I kind of, it re-entered my mind. I was like, yeah, I haven't actually kind of like looked at myself in a while or had someone check me on something. Because I had great friends and whatnot, but they would point out things I need to improve on, but I don't think they were able to communicate it in a way which I understood. And sometimes like you can say something to someone, but it's the way you communicate it that like will hit home with the person. So it made me think about it as rude, but it kind of came and went. I kind of heard it, and then like I actually didn't put any time to it. And then fast forward about a couple of years, it kind of comes back to bite me being rude. And I'm not saying I wasn't terribly rude, but like I just like it wasn't an aspect of my personality I liked. So we were in a studio session. Finn was there again, actually. Up in Dublin, in Swords, with this engineer at the time. And I basically kind of like thought I was able to stay and kind of rudely asked the way I was at the house after. And I won't get into it, but it was rude of me to do it or whatever, and I apologized, and I thought I made amends or whatever. But it turns out it didn't make amends, and then he wouldn't mix my song, and because he was the engineer. His house was a studio. I thought I was able to stay. I wasn't. I was rude the way I asked. I apologized. Thought it was all good. Next day, leave. He wouldn't mix my song that I paid him for. Yada yada. It's all history. But I ring Finn and I'm explaining the situation to Finn, because even though I realized it was rude, I don't think I realized the impact or the extent of how rude it may have been. And we're chatting anyways, and like I explained the situation, and he goes, "Yeah, Martin, you are fucking rude." And I was like, "Huh?" And he was like, and they kind of broke down the situation to me, and it kind of like checked me, and I kind of went, "Whoa." And he was just able to break it down in a very simplistic and articulate really smoothly why and how. And it just hit home. And even though to someone else it might not seem like that big of a thing, maybe, but how you treat people is a clear indicator of how you're going to do in life. Like, it really is, because how you treat people is kind of the definition, one of the definitions of how what the type of person you are. Definitely, like, I don't care how successful someone is, if they treat someone poorly, then like your success doesn't really mean anything to me. So having Finn check me about that aspect of myself, I was like, whoa. I was like, I never clocked this properly. So that was a wake-up call. And it's a wake-up call because, one, the way he said it, having the proper realization this time. And number two, it affected my music this time. It cut off a bridge. It affected me finishing a song. And I didn't fucking have enough money to get it redone. And I was like, ugh. So that was added weight to the situation. So that really fucking hurt me. Like, really, really did hurt me. But learning that and then going, okay, that's something I need to improve, because it's important that I improve it, made me go do some work to improve it and be very aware and be very careful and be very sensitive of how I'm treating someone. Because again, it's the definition. It leads to like how the type of person you are, how you treat someone. So that was a big one, understanding that. And that's still something I work on. And it's kind of something like I balance, I guess, where like I'm very sensitive and kind and thoughtful with people, but also like I'm not someone who will let you just walk over me. I do have that aspect of my personality that, like, I would say, how would I describe it? Not cold, but just like not an aggression, maybe. Just a confidence that I won't be intimidated, I guess. Because I never wanted to be one of them people who like are just so kind that everyone can walk over. And I think sometimes, maybe from time to time, people may get the impression of that, or maybe sometimes I have to like make it clear that I don't let that happen in my life, and I stick up for myself, which maybe in the past I wouldn't have sticked up for myself. And we'll get into that too, because that's all about the personal development. So that's kind of being rude, and also linked to the rude being judgmental, and how I worked on that. So like that was kind of being rude aspect, and it's kind of linked to being judgmental. So another part was being judgmental, and everyone judges, you know. It's natural. Humans, when we meet someone, the first thing we're judging is how the person looks subconsciously, because that's what our visual presentation, that's what we're looking at. We just do it subconsciously, as natural as humans. So everyone judges everything, but I feel like there's a difference between judging and being judgmental, and the way I kind of would distinguish that is it's okay to judge, but not to the point where you're thinking about it and it's in your head and you're like breaking it down, looking at somebody like, and being mean with your thoughts and jumping to conclusions, because it's so easy to jump to conclusions when you're being judgmental. It's so easy to look at someone and, oh, that's the way why they're doing that, or that's the way they're because of this, when you don't have the single iota of the person's life. Their ups and downs, their in-betweens, their highs, their lows, where they come from, where they don't come from. And I think I didn't really clock how judgmental I may have been until I left home and started like moving places, and like moving to Dublin when I was young, a youngin. Because I guess sometimes when you're from a small place, it can like breed small opinions. And small discussions, small thoughts, like small-minded mentality. Not all the time, but it can definitely breathe a little toxic vibe sometimes. And I think I kind of may have let that slide in. Let it slide in, should I say? Because even though I always had aspirations and seen the bigger picture and seen all the possibilities that life has to offer outside of like just like the area I may have grew up in, there's still things that are a part of you. A lot of positive ones and some negative ones. Because I'm very proud of where I'm from. I'm very proud of everything that's taught me in my journey of where I'm from. Just like Schligok. Very proud of the people I grew up with. Like, I grew up with some beautiful, incredible people. That I'm very happy to have had in my life and still have in my life, and just cool aspects and stories and journeys and like just your whole childhood. So like I love where I'm from, super proud of it, and I wasn't always proud of it, but I am super proud of it now at this point in my life where I'm from. But even though you're proud of something, you have to be honest of also the negative aspects of something, and that was something that I had to maneuver and get over, like some small thoughts or small opinions of how I viewed people maybe. And that again, when I moved, that's why I spoke about it before. Journey far to see who you can be. Nas said, journey far to see who you can be, but you can know who you are when you're surrounded by family. Journey as far as you can to understand people and understand yourself is a big thing. So when I moved to Dublin, I started hanging around with like all walks of life, like every single different walk of life that I can ever imagine, and all the like lessons that you learn from that. So that definitely helped me to be less judgmental. And also like fucking checking your ego. Because I thought like I had life figured out. And you never have life figured out, ever. Like, you're always learning and getting like understanding more tricks to the trade, but you never have it ever figured out. Like, you go through good periods where you think you do, and then life goes, whoop, okay, you've been learning too much. We're gonna push you in there for a little while into what the fuck's going on zone, and then you're in the what the fuck's going on zone. You're like But I guess something else linked to me being judgmental was when I was like 18. I don't know if I spoke about this yet on the podcast, but when I was 18, I never got clinically diagnosed or got it broken down by a doctor, but I essentially had like a mental breakdown. And what that was to me is like pretty intense, just laying in my room, just fucking crying my eyes out, fucking just hell, with intrusive thoughts. Like same weekend too, where obviously I would have had a lot of suicidal thoughts, and you know, would have been pretty close to doing some things I maybe would have regretted. So Jesus, that was such an intense weekend. Even now, every November, like it's around November 24th, I think it happened. So even every November, I still think about it a little bit of like, wowzers, Jesus, like that's what, 8 years ago or whatever now. So when that happened too, my God, like to kind of describe it, again, it was an intense weekend. Fuck, that's like a light way of putting it. But also then for just weeks, months after, like my brain, I just couldn't view anything without my brain being on fire, essentially. I couldn't view anything nice, anything happy. I'd enjoy something for like 1 minute and boom, my whole world would be crumbling down inside me. So, and it was sensitive to everything, like loud noises. I couldn't play Grand Theft Auto. I was that sensitive, like the noises on Grand Theft Auto would make me fucking start like panicking. And I didn't tell anyone, which was, wow. Didn't tell anyone. And yeah, so that happening, my God, I viewed people in a different way in terms of like, I don't know what's going on in your life. Who am I to like try judge or try make an assumption about you? I don't know what's going on. So that also taught me about being judgmental. But I've done a pretty good job throughout the years of improving that judgmental side to me and improving that rude side to me. I am still rude from time to time, but like it's just about minimizing things. It's not about really removing. You can't really remove sometimes things about your personality. You just minimize them. Same with slip-ups, the way I put it. Like, you can't remove slip-ups out of your life. It's just not possible. But you can do your best job and give it all you can to minimize the slip-ups. And the more you minimize, the more progress you make, I guess. So the same thing with my personality. The more negative traits I kind of minimize, the more I progress and the more the more happy I am as a person and how I view myself in the mirror. Because, bruh, ain't that what it's all about? Just being able to like look in the mirror and just smile and love and like the person that stands back at you. Being able to look yourself in the eye. Like, I don't recommend people do this because it's quite intense. But from time to time, I used to just like look in the mirror and look in my eye. So quite intense. Like, just look into myself and see what I like really see. Because if you stare in the mirror for a long period of time, one, your brain will get a bit of imagination and start making up things. But two, you will see past whatever kind of barriers or even personal boundaries or walls you've put up yourself, and you'll see what's really going on. So yeah, I do that from time to time. It can be quite intense, and I don't think it's for everybody something to do. So yeah, between being rude, judgmental, are some things I've definitely worked on. And also another thing I want to chat about is heavy enough, I guess, but the defense mechanism. The defense mechanism. Defense mechanism. And that's probably one of my biggest things I've really worked on. The old defense mechanism. So when I would have went to secondary school, there was like a brief period where I would have got bullied a bit, which was not nice. It happened to football, and it's actually the reason I quit soccer. This guy, who's a lovely guy now, and I've had many great conversations with him since. He just used not to be too kind when he was a kid, and bullied me a bit. I ended up quitting soccer because that's something I loved. So that happened. I actually remember. I might as well tell the story. The quote "hurt people" is a cliche quote and a repeated, consistent quote across the board for a reason. It's because it's true, you know. Sometimes I know some things are repeated, they're not true, but like when you hear cliche quotes, they're usually very on point, and they have lots of value if you really break them down and apply them to your own life. So I remember we went on a trip. So I would have spoke about football. Was my dream to become a professional footballer at one point. But we went on a trip to Frankfurt back when we were younger for football and for soccer. And it was so exciting. I'd never been. It was my like second time on a plane, or third time. I was on a plane once when I was a baby. Second then trip to France or Paris, and then this is my third trip. So I was about 11 at the time, and it was about 11, which is a very vulnerable age. Like, my God, 11 years old, fucking hell, that's such a vulnerable age. And we went to Frankfurt on this trip for football, and was an incredible trip. My God, it was an incredible trip. We went swimming in this outdoor swimming pool. Like, I could really, I'll lay out some vivid. I'll get to the story and then I'll lay out some vivid, the great points of the trip too. But anyhow, one of the bits was, one of the parts of the trip is we went to Frankfurt Stadium and to watch a football game. And it was like a big group of us, a couple of parents came with or whatever. And obviously I've always been a mammy's boy. And I love my mother to bits, and I always have done, and always expressed it. And I got her a scarf, right? So I got the mother a scarf as a present, and I rang her up, and I was chatting to her. She was asking me how was going the trip, because like she's a great mother. And I was like, "Oh, mommy, I got you a scarf." Now, one of the lads thought this was absolutely hilarious and just brilliant, and took this and just ran with it, and for the whole trip, just bullied me. Which was shit at the time, and looking back, I don't really hold any fucking bad blood or whatever, but he just fucking straight out bullied me for the whole entire of the trip. And we only went for a weekend, but Jesus, it felt like a lot longer for some bad reasons, and just over and over and over again. So I guess that's the first time I kind of maybe really met what bullying may be. So that happened anyways. Now fucking the trip was incredible overall. Like, fucking got to go to Frankfurt Stadium. We played a match against this other team. in like I have to tell the story. It's just so good of a story. So one of the parts of the trip was we were playing. Our manager was German. Shout out manager, and we were playing his old team. And to get there, we had to kind of go through like this like open like cornfields. And we're driving on a road through these cornfields, and there's trees at the side of the cornfields, and you can kind of keep, as the bus is moving, you kind of see in between the trees into the cornfields, and it's beautiful Germany. I was like, what? It's not class, like incredible. So, and then the pitch was like in the middle of all these fields, and we go in anyways, and like they have all like a setup. They have like a building for like to get food. They have a bar. They have their facilities were amazing, like, because their facilities were fucking shit. We used to play on this fucking field where I'm from in Torquay, right? And sure, the field was like a fucking hill. Now it's improved a bit. Now they have some better facilities, and they have an AstroTurf, sure. But fuck me, we used to play on it. My God, there'd be like a big hole in the middle of the field, and it'd be just all water, and you'd run through the water or whatever on a bad day. And sure, then we couldn't play a lot of home games because any bit of bad weather in the field would be fucked. It'd be just all big puddles. It'd be like you're going swimming and not playing football. So their facilities compared to our facilities, my God. Anyhow, we end up playing the game. I get man of the match. It was fucking great. So that was some good aspects. But unfortunately, one of the aspects I do remember of the trip was getting bullied for a weekend, which was not nice. So then, fast forward like a year or two, and then he's on my team again. And it's just started again, yeah, because it was kind of year off, year on or something, just like with age groups. And for like 2 months, and I just like, I couldn't take it anymore. Like it was just making me like super sad. It is what it is. Like I was just super sad all the time. I didn't want to play football anymore. So I quit football. And everyone knew why I quit football. Everyone on the team knew exactly why I quit. And then I ended up coming back at the end of the season, and then me and him ended up being cool. Long story short with that. But shout out to him too. Like he's a good dude now. Like it's again, sometimes kids are just mean when they're younger. So that was kind of one of the aspects of bullying that contributed to what I'm about to say next. Another one was another guy who used to not be too nice to me either, and was just, again, won't go into it much, but just pretty mean, and used to try and control me too. Used to try and control my emotions, and like would maybe say a joke to me and then switch and then like manipulate me or something. And that happened. I would say the manipulation continued on until we were even a little bit older in school, until I just kind of realized the type of person, not the type of person he was, but the aspect of his personality. So anyhow, the bullying from, and there was one example of one sleepover we went to, and it was just, yeah, it doesn't really matter the actual specifics of the bullying, but more the byproduct and what I've learned over the years. So anyways, two individuals that weren't too nice to me, that are good lads now. Like, again, I don't hold any like resentment or bad blood to them. Like they're good guys. Like, and again, kids are just mean. Sometimes some kids are more mean than others, I guess, and it wasn't right what they did. But then again, I didn't have it like, I'm awful bad for like thinking I didn't have it too bad as well as compared to, because I didn't have it that bad at all. So many other people had way worse times than I ever did. So I didn't have it that bad, but what happened did make an impact on me. So you kind of go two ways with bullying. You either, one, get bullied and become a bully, or two, get bullied, learn to protect, and learn to stand up for yourself and protect other vulnerable or sensitive people. So for a little while after I got bullied, my defense mechanism was to be mean to other people, and not for a long period of time, but like, if I mean that I won't get hurt. So that's kind of what I did. Now, I never fucking did anything nasty or anything, but I know I was mean. And again, when you're at young ages, like, being mean is just so fucking, it's not nice. So anyways, I would have been mean as my defense mechanism and thought that was cool. But then the years went by and I kind of spotted that within my personality, and I kind of let that go, thank God. And just moved on, I guess. Let that go, be a mood. Just as we went through school, I guess I was like, why would I do that? Why would I be mean to someone? So learning that too. And then the biggest thing of it, the defense mechanism. So even though people were mean to me, I started being a little mean to other people. Then I let that go. I still had that defense mechanism there, where if someone said anything to me, my first reaction was to hit back. And that is not healthy. Not healthy, guys. Not healthy. And what I mean by that, I don't mean physically. Like, obviously, if someone punches you, you go, oh, use your defense. But what I mean is, often I would like, if someone said something to me and I misinterpreted it, sometimes I misinterpret it like they're trying to take a dig at me. And instead of like just like read the situation for what it is and be mindful of what it is, what's happening, I would hit back. That was my first reaction because I didn't want to get hurt. So I would hit back and hit back twice as hard. And that is not healthy, and that like really hindered some of my relationships, I think, for a while, and even creeps up now and again. I'll give an example of how it creeped up now and again. But having that, I don't want to get hurt, so I'm going to hurt you twice as much, is not healthy. I don't care what level it happens. Someone saying something little or someone saying something big or whatever. It's just not healthy. So learning that defense mechanism and that insecurity that's there, because that's what it was. Being bullied when I was a kid did breed this insecurity into my mentality, which is not helpful and not part of the person I am or the person I want to be, and I'm becoming a great one, a great warrior. So learning that has been a huge thing. And again, everyone has them insecurities, and if you can pinpoint them insecurities, understand why they're there and how they manifested there, like some bad poison sometimes, and then gently take care of them, and just let them gently take care of them, work on them, and then just let them float away. Wow, it's liberating. It's really, really liberating. It feels fucking good, man. Feels really good. It feels really good to let go of them insecurities and build muscle and become more robust and rigorous in the best way possible. So for anyone that may have been bullied or may have had something like that happen to them, it's like, I think the first thing is just accepting that it did happen is probably one, and that it's okay, the pain that it's caused. And number two, then figuring out how you're going to like just work on it. And there's so many different ways, be it chatting to friends, or be it going to a therapist, or be it like reading self-help books, or be it, I know there's so many methods. And again, guys, this is just what I've learned. I always tell you guys that, like, this is just lessons I picked up on my own travels. Like, I'm not a psychologist, and I don't claim to be. I'm not a doctor, I don't claim to be. I just claim to be someone that's on the path of life, that's learned a few lessons. So take from it what you will, as I always say. Take from it what you will. But there are definitely many methods, and just because you have one part of you now that you don't like doesn't mean a year, doesn't mean 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years that you've really worked on it and you're not just not there anymore, or not to the same extent, shall I say. So, and having the belief that you can work on something, that nothing is permanent. Like, nothing is permanent, and both in a sad way, I guess, but both in a great way. Nothing is permanent. And if you understand that, then the freedom you receive, then it's just limitless. Like, because you see the bigger picture. Like, guys, we're on a planet in a universe floating, for God's sake. Like, sometimes you just have to zoom out, and remember what's happening. Like, this gift of life that we've received. We're on a planet in a fucking universe, how many billion years old? Like, you can do what you want in the best possible way. What I mean as in that, like, I mean improving in your life and whatnot. So anyhow, that's that, I guess. The whole defense mechanism and learning how to improve my defense mechanism. And I guess another aspect is my kindness. So the old kindness, where does kindness come in, I guess? Well, I spoke about defense mechanisms. So when I was a kid, obviously, my mother taught me it's really nice to be kind. And my father too, that like kindness is an integral part of life, being kind to people. And so it came from, my mother's always kind of, I would say my father more that I learned that from. Again, guys, you know how I speak about my parents. I'm very blessed to have them. I'm very blessed that they're great people. So I would have learned most of the kindness from my father, seeing him, because he's a very giving person. So when I was younger, that's what I was taught. But then, as I spoke about my defense mechanisms and people being mean, becoming a bit mean, that kindness kind of vanished and disappeared. And one of the reasons one of my, like, the people I look up to and will always look up to, and a person that unfortunately I never got to meet, but I love him dearly. I love everything that he gave the world. Was Mac, Mr. Malcolm McCormick. Shout out Mac. Man's getting a bit teary-eyed thinking of Mac. But yeah, unfortunately never got to meet him, but that's okay. I'll meet him one day in the universe somewhere. But one of the best things about Mac was his kindness, and like how he wasn't afraid to be kind. And it means so much to me. Like, it means so much to me. Like, obviously Mac is a hero of mine and someone I dearly look up to, and someone I'm pretty sure we would have been friends if they got to stick around, I guess. But yeah, I feel like we would have been friends, but maybe not. But I feel like we would have. But anyway, obviously I loved his music and loved everything about his journey and his story. But one of the biggest things, if not the biggest, was how this funny and kind he was to everyone. And I guess when he passed away, because it hit me so hard, like, oh man, losing Mac was, whew, as for so many, like, because the ability Mac had to make you feel like he was his friend is why it was so easy to be a fan of him, because you didn't feel like you were a million miles from this person. You felt like they were there every step of the way with you. So that's why I think his life had such a big impact on everyone, because yes, he was this musical genius, but it was his ability that his ability to just make you feel like you knew him that I think may have even transcended that sometimes. So Mac was very kind, and when he passed away, it was very impactful. And I'll do a podcast on that in the future. But one of the things it was like, man, it's okay to be kind. In fact, it's more than okay. It's it's a gift to be kind. It's absolutely a superpower to be able to be kind. And when he passed away, that was probably one of the biggest things it had on me. Like, man, I am a kind person. It's okay to be kind. It's really, it's a great thing, because I didn't want to be kind, because in the past I thought like people would walk over me. But then I was like, nah, it's opposite of that. Like, the world deserves love and kindness. You deserve love and kindness. I deserve love and kindness. So I just fucking started like remembering like how kind my heart is and how kind my father was and everything I learned. And I just started being really kind, and being proud of being kind to people, and that's just a superpower, and that's something I still do every day. Sometimes it's hard to be kind, especially if you're like you're not in a good zone, or if you're having a bad day. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. It's by far an easy thing to do whatsoever. Guys, I'm kind of multitasking here as I try to fix my mic. But being kind is a superpower, and understanding that if you're kind to others, you will receive that in return tenfold, 10x. The universe will give it back to you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will give it back to you. And that's just something that I picked up, man. It's fucking great to be kind to people, man. It's so good because it makes them feel good, you feel good. And sometimes even when I'm having a bad day, it's not really, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing really, but like, I'll send someone a nice message when I'm having a bad day. I'll do something kind. I'll go out of my way to do something to help another person to feel good about myself. Because it's a two-way street. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a two-way street. Like, you're helping someone and you feel good doing it. So yeah, guys, man, if you take anything from the podcast, it's fucking class to be kind. It's really good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and you can be super kind and not get walked over. It's possible. It's really possible. You just have to have that stern element in your character too. So yeah, that's the kindness. That's the kindness element. And again, expressing love, being a part of that too, because being kind is expressing love and feeling okay to express love. So yeah, guys, that's kind of some parts of the personal development, I guess. Some things that I have worked on, and some things that like I've just put time into. I put time, like recently even I did some therapy on to like, help my defense mechanism. Having great friends too. I know not everyone is blessed enough to have great friends yet. Notice I said yet, because they're out there. You just got to find them, do the work. Having great friends and being able to ask them, like one of my great friends. Well, yeah, again, I'm just very lucky with my friends, but like one of my great friends, Dylan, like he's able to like. I remember one time he rang me up and he made me cry like because he was just like telling me the truth. And sometimes you just need someone to tell you the truth because you are lying to yourself. It was about music and whatnot, and man, it was a tough conversation to have. I was hurt by the conversation. Dylan didn't hurt me, making me cry. It was the words that were true that I was hearing for the first time that made me cry, just about music and stuff. And damn, and we've had them conversations, not to that extent, but we've had them conversations too, because we've been friends for so long that them conversations are like, they're important in our friendship, that like we can just tell each other the fucking truth. Same with all my other friends, like just having that ability where they'll just tell you the truth. Like sometimes that's so rare. And if you've had a friend for a long time and they can't tell you the truth, then I think you need to maybe reassess that friendship, or maybe work on that friendship, because real friends will tell you the truth. Like, if you ask them, like, it may be hard for them to articulate it, or maybe for them to like craft their emotions and put it into words. But if you have a friend that is lying to you, then I would question that friendship a little bit. But yeah, man, that's like personal growth. Wow, it's a beautiful thing. Nobody's the same person that they were yesterday. We're forever growing in every moment. We're forever learning. Great quote, like, the day you stop learning is the day you die. And that's a very important quote. Like, so always keep learning, be it reading, be it videos, be it people. Always keep learning about yourself, and always keep. It doesn't have to be like this huge thing. It can just be another habit that you put time away to journal. That's why the journal is so good. The journal is a conversation with yourself. And I'm glad that like I've received some messages now that like people have started journaling. That's fucking great. It makes me so fucking happy, man. That like journaling, getting to know yourself, because the more you get to know yourself, the more you will understand about the world and understand about other people. So that's what I got for you guys. But yeah, there we go. That's the old episode 9. God damn it, it feels good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. Alrighty then. So yeah, episode 9 of One Step at a Time. Guys, please share it. I got the little videos and that. We're in momentum. It's going to be a couple more. There's going to be one with the WP Master coming. There's going to be one I do on Christmas and whatnot. So it'll be a couple to finish out the year. But I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, go grow, guys. Go grow like the beautiful flowers out there in the garden. But yeah, this has been another podcast with your boy, the Ocean Fly 111, heading straight to full potential with Zero Delays. And this has been another episode of One Step at a Time. Go on, guys. Have a lovely day. God bless. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it goes late nights on the road. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Yeah, that's just how it goes these days. I'ma try my best to make this flight, but if I don't wake up tomorrow, then the sun will still be. Yeah, it goes late nights on the road. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Yeah, that's just how it goes these days. I'ma try my best to make this flight, but if I don't wake up tomorrow, then the sun will still be bright.